Hello and welcome to the 41 Minutes of Heaven we call the D1Baseball Podcast. I am your host, Michael Patrick Rooney. I want to let you know it's time to prepare for takeoff because Academy Sports and Outdoors is your new home for Jordan Brand. Swag up today and take flight on the court, off the court, and above the court. Making plays in the latest head-to-toe Jordan gear is fun for the whole family. The Jordan collection is available in-store and at academy.com. Elevated styles and shoes for everyone. Unstoppable value every day. Unleash your greatness with the Jordan collection at Academy Sports and Outdoors. And we all know that Michael Jordan is the second most famous North Carolina alum behind my good friend and my participant in this podcast, the great Aaron J. Fitt, Fitty Barrels. I mean, Michael Jordan doesn't have a cool nickname like Fitty Barrels, does he?
No, not that I know of. I have a question about Academy.
Yes.
Do you think they have? Because here's what I really want. I want if I talked about this in the podcast before, I probably have. Bring back the Sean Kemp Kamikazes. That's what you remember. You probably don't remember those old Reeboks. Those are my favorite shoes I've ever had. We need to bring those babies back. Sean Kemp still a thing? Is he still playing?
I don't think he's. I remember him being like an Indiana prepster that was not interested in secondary education and got his way to the NBA, was a dunkaholic in a cool way. He was Sports Center ratings really had a lot to do with Sean Kemp back in the day. He was glorious.
The Rain Man.
Yes. Gosh. And the fact that he was a Seattle Supersonic. I feel like Seattle is still not made right with the loss of the Supersonic. It still feels like a wound that has not healed.
It's really on par with the demise of the Pac-12. They're just two sporting tragedies that we're probably never going to get over.
Gosh, clean it up, West Coast. What are we doing out here? Like, maintain your sports better. Let's go. What are we doing? Anyway,
agreed.
By the way, Ace Man, if you're Ace Reese, gosh, welcome to the pod. Your bat to ball skills are amazing. But if you're not Ace Reese, we like you all the same. And howdy to you. And Angela Crotchfeld, good evening. Yeah, thank you for the salutations right there. Or greetings, I guess those are. Are those greetings?
I think it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, greetings are first and then salutations are at the end, or that's the same thing.
Gosh, this is an electric open to this show. Let's go, Coach Rooney. Pure electricity. We got Bradley Smart hopping in. Look at
the man with the mustache. Bradley Smart, if you're listening to the podcast, has just joined us. Just left. I implored Bradley, do not leave your girlfriend's birthday dinner early. I begged you not to do that, Bradley. Please tell us you were not fidgeting at dinner with potentially your future in-laws.
I was not. When I saw the message that you hadn't started yet and I was on my way home, I was like, this is perfect. I'll hop on.
Well, I can see Bradley at dinner saying, hey, you guys good with the bill? All right, see ya. Peace out. No, that's not what happened.
Bradley picked up that tab, I'm pretty sure.
That's right. Pards Extra. All that revenue we're bringing in from Pards Extra. Bradley's like, bring the caviar out. Let's go. The Dom Perignon. Oh my gosh! Look at all these great guests in the chat. Amazing, boys. Fitzy. No offense to you, but you like without Joe here, the vocab's just going to suffer. They're going to go boxing one on you, and we're going to do the best we can. We don't have to win by 20. We just have to win. Bradley, we haven't even started talking about series yet. So before we go too far, let us go to the SEC. And what I want to do, boys, for the SEC is I want to use hockey vernacular. There's going to be a third star, a second star, and a first star of these 8 series. I'll give you guys the series. And then, Fitzy, you're going to go first. You're going to pick your third star, your third favorite series. And then we'll pick that for discussion. So A&M at Georgia is massive, clearly. Auburn is at Ole Miss. Kentucky's at Vandy. LSU's at South Carolina. Texas is at Oklahoma. Alabama at Florida. Hail State at Mizzou. White hot Mizzou, although we already got word that Mizzou is going to pitch off, which is actually a smart play. They're going to save their weekends.
Coach. Yeah, it's 4th and 30. We got a punt here.
That's right. There's going for it on 4th and 30. There's no heroes when everybody dies. So it's a good play. And then the Tennessee Volunteers are going to Baum Walker and Arkansas. Fitzy, who's your third star series?
I'm going to go A&M Georgia here, in part because I'm going to probably be there on Saturday, which,
Oh, nice.
I'm kind of looking forward to getting eyes on these teams at this point in the season and see where we're at. How will the Aggies respond? Is one of the more intriguing things to me because, we don't need to rehash how what happened last week. We already buried them pretty bad last week in multiple podcasts. But I mean, we've seen what they can do at their best. I mean, they've got 3 series wins that are as good as anything anybody has done, on the road at Arkansas and at Tennessee, and then taking 2 out of 3 from LSU. So, I mean, why can't they go to Athens and win a series against a team that's really good at home? I mean, I'm not betting on that, but I mean, there's a chance, and they're desperate back against the wall situation here. We'll see what they're made of, and so. But boy, I mean, Georgia's really good at home, and that's a daunting challenge. And I'm curious to kind of see Georgia's pitching staff too at this point in the season, as we head in the postseason. How are we feeling about that? It feels like there've been some good stretches and some shaky stretches, and they've had really a streaky season. But I think we all like their position player group. I like their arm talent, but it's just a matter of, are they going to be pitching well at the right time? And so, this weekend will be one more kind of last look for them heading into the postseason.
Yeah, I would say I'm going to call this the exasperation bowl. Like of the elite teams that are going to be a top 8 national seed, I actually find Georgia to be one of the most confounding. Like they don't throw strikes. It's a free pass-a-thon, with that, like they hit guys, they walk guys, they do miss bats though. And it's by design, like it's a high risk, high reward pitching staff, but that they will walk the stadium. And then their position player group is designed for power, and that's going to play perfectly at Foley Field. But again, do I feel in my heart of hearts that Georgia's like a lock to be a top 8 outside of the metrics? Like they kind of feel like a top 8 to me. So again, I'm excited to see more of them. I feel like I've got more studying to do on Georgia. And then A&M, I would describe A&M as like the most confounding team in the last 5 years in college baseball. Like I think they're more confounding than Florida last year. Like Florida never really became a great team to me. Like they just Jack Caglione and Brandon Neely basically said, "All right, I'm done. Everyone else just pack your bags for Omaha, and we'll tell you what time the flight leaves." And Ashton Wilson had a lot to do with that too. So anyway, interesting. Bradley Smart, by the way, Justin LaGrange is in the chat. Bradley, pick a movie with like a hero and a villain, and I think I'm probably the villain in Justin's mind. But like that's me and Justin. He's a big time LSU fan. Justin, in the chat, I want you to tell us how your knees are doing. You had some serious surgery, and I do, even though we are hero and villain, I do want to know how you're doing physically and health wise. But while Justin's doing that, Bradley, the second star series for you in the SEC, please.
All right, I was mentally preparing for a third star here, but I'll talk about this series anyway. I'm pretty interested in seeing the Big 12 matchup with Texas and Oklahoma. The classic rivalry there, and I think they're both kind of, I don't want to say limping into this, but Oklahoma loses 3 tight ones or 2 closer ones to Kentucky. There, they've lost 4 straight in the SEC. Texas, obviously the Arkansas series, then you come back, you drop 2 or 3 to Florida. So I'm interested to kind of see what we get out of these 2 teams, because it's still crazy to me that Texas in year 1 going into this week has a 2-game lead, I think, atop the SEC. Like that's insane to just come into that league and do that. And, Oklahoma, I think they're the 11 seed right now. So I think that'll be pretty interesting to see whether Texas, kind of gets going a bit going into the postseason here. Yeah,
that is, again, like, have we ever had more question marks about a number 1 overall seed than we do about Texas right now? I don't think so. All right, Justin says he's doing better every day. Awesome. Love that. Very cool. Yeah, I'm with you. And then, like Oklahoma and Texas with all that. I mean, you made, you said the Big 12 rivalry in jest, but like those 2 schools don't like each other. Like that is a heck of a rivalry. Boys, I will give you, I think just Tennessee at Arkansas, any series of stature at Arkansas, that is another one of those places in college baseball. I mean, I could just rattle them off: LSU, Mississippi State, like those old SEC West venues where when they get a big series, it is awesome. Like it is, to me, Baumwalker is like they're playing a big series at the Daytona 500. It is going to be nuts there. Tennessee brings the juice. Like if you're a crowd that can't get up for your team playing Tennessee, then you actually have lost your pulse. And, first time Andrew Fisher hits a home run and, starts yelling at your pitcher. We'll see how Baumwalker handles that. I love that. Anyway, I just think we're trying to find out more about Tennessee. Arkansas feels like a national championship contender, but yet they keep losing series. I don't know. Fitzy, I want you to bail me out here. Do you have a strong opinion on this series? This one also confuses me.
Yeah. I do feel like Tennessee is going to be a very dangerous postseason team. I really strongly believe that. It's been a weird year, and it's a weird team, and they have some very obvious flaws. I mean, everyone has talked a lot about the holding base runners situation, and the vulnerability here and there on defense, and just different things that have popped up. Arkansas, for me, I think most of us on the staff agree. Arkansas and LSU for me are the two best teams in the country. And most complete. And, they've still had ups and downs. And we say that in Arkansas has lost 4 of their last 5 series. I still think they're probably the best team in the country, the most complete roster. And I like them at home. I'm not going to bet against them at home, but gosh, you have to imagine Tennessee they're going to be up for it. And we know they're talented, and Liam Doyle can beat anybody. He can come in there and shove the first game. Then you just got to get one more, so it's a very compelling series.
This is crazy, boys. So, and Bradley, you're a good math guy. I want you to fix this if I get this wrong. These two teams, Arkansas and Tennessee, they have combined to win 2 of their last 11 series. They have won 2 of their last 11 series. They are 2-9 over their last 11 weekends. And yet, if you said, here are my 5 national championship contenders, and you didn't mention those 2 teams, I would tell you to give me your keys. I would tell you you've had too many martinis and stop it. Like that. Think about how bonkers that are. These 2 teams, who I think are absolute, like, big time contenders to win the whole thing, can't win a weekend. Now, none of them have been swept. Those 9 losing weekends, not one single one of them is a sweep. And I do think that is material, but that matters. But anyway, just amazing, those 2 teams.
If you need me to help you with the math, Coach, that's it's less than 20%. They've won.
Good ratio.
You lose every weekend except for when Haley's Comet shows up. It's just, anyway, craziness, just absolutely bonkers. And my conviction is never been stronger. I still think those 2 teams are elite. Justin, I see your question. I don't hate LSU. However, I think Jay Johnson's best team was 23. The more we've gotten away from that team, all those Louisiana kids that would just die on the field, Trey Morgan, Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, Ty Floyd. I remember when Jay Johnson used to say that's one of the best teams of all time right after the national championship. It was just hard for me to process that because Wake Forest was the 1 seed and they weren't a fraud. Wake Forest was awesome. But I think that 2023 team, that's a special team. Just Skeens and Cruz alone is bonkers that was on the same college team 2 years ago.
Yep. Agreed.
So,
but this team is really good. This LSU team, I still think is underappreciated
Agreed.
by a lot of people, including on our staff. We have them ranked number 1 in the country right now. I still think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on them. There've been various times, I think, on our show over the course of the year where various staffers whose names I won't mention, but their initials are Kendall Rogers, have questioned the LSU offense.
Smendel, Smodgers.
I'm here to tell you, I think it's a good offense, and I think it's a really, really, really talented pitching staff. And I understand the bullpen, has had some leaks here and there. You got a real dude though with Zach Cowan and so many different power arms behind him that I think are going to show up in the postseason.
And Zach Cowan gave us, is Zach Cowan's plural? Or is that Cowan?
Cowan.
I think it's Cowan. Gave us one of the great Lynn Rollins lines of the year. He said, Zach Cowan's command is so good that, quote, he could throw a tater tot through an onion ring, which is really got to be the line of the year, I would think.
If I could do it again, I would have Lynn Rollins officiate my wedding, because
me too.
He's a national treasure. I feel like I really blew that one. Maybe we'll have to renew our vows and fly him in there. It'll be electric.
Him and Ben McDonald on a call at like 1 a.m. Oh, if you don't think I'm cracking open a new one for that, you are mistaken. Like, that is buckle your chin straps, get the snacks out. We are not going to sleep. It is so great. Bradley, so I'm going to have you take us to the ACC. I read your piece. By the way, you can see the code Omaha30, get 30% off the any subscription. If you do ACC Extra, you get SEC Extra for free, and vice versa. Don't go into the postseason. I got to tell you guys, like, I've got the lineup tab open on when I'm studying teams, so I can see who the starters have been, what's their batting order. I can see what did I see? I noticed something today. It was maybe it was the Auburn lineup I was going over. I had no idea that Chris Rembert was having this incredible, potentially freshman of the year season. Anyway, the stats page, the schedule you can get to, and then Bradley had an awesome article, like the ACC title race. Bradley, I'm gonna tee you up, and then I want you to kind of just help us digest this. As we sit here today, before the weekend starts, there are literally 6 teams who could become ACC champions. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, it is, and
bonkers.
It's nuts. We picked a good year to launch ACC Extra. Because going into this final weekend, there is 6 teams. There's Florida State, NC State, Georgia Tech, Duke, North Carolina, and if everything fell perfectly,
do it, Bradley, do it,
Virginia, which is insane if you think about just like you go back a month and you're like, never going to happen. But yeah, so we get the script writers knew what they were doing. Going into this final weekend, because UNC goes to Florida State in probably the marquee series or potentially marquee series of the entire weekend. And then within the ACC seeding, like standings, you've got, Duke and Georgia Tech playing. You've got Miami and Notre Dame playing. Louisville, Wake Forest are currently tied in the standings. They're playing each other. You've got Cal and BC battling at the back end. It's just fascinating. And I went a little in depth on scenarios in that article, but it's something else.
Let me ask you two guys a question. It's going to be a two-part question for both of you. True or false? This weekend is must win for Virginia and Notre Dame. Virginia's going to Virginia Tech. Notre Dame is going to Miami. True or false? This is a must win weekend for both Virginia and Notre Dame. Fitzy?
True.
Bradley?
True. And
Oh, go ahead, Fitzy. You can expound.
No, go ahead, Bradley. What do you got?
Yeah, no, it's definitely true for both of them. Notre Dame, I mean, they're 12 and 15. They're in the ACC. They've been playing really well, but they're still catching up from that 4-14 start. So they've got to take this series to put themselves in a position to get a win at the tournament and get in that way. And then if you want to talk about Virginia.
It does kind of feel like winning you're in, though, for Notre Dame, I feel like, because the RPI is in decent shape in the 40s, whereas Virginia still has RPI issues. I mean, they're still at 59 or 60 right now. But they've got a good conference record at 14-10, and I do feel like you win 2 out of 3 on the road here. You get to 16 and 11. RPI goes up a little bit. It still is outside normal comfort range for an ACC bubble team, and so they wouldn't be a lock. But we got the impression in our conversation with J.R. Teagues that the committee is certainly aware of the circumstances surrounding Virginia's series cancellation down at Florida State and how that would have most likely helped them in the RPI, and also that the committee is sympathetic to it was the impression that I walked away with. And so I do think they'll probably get a little bit of extra leeway if they win this last series, certainly if they sweep it. But if they take 2 out of 3 on the road, I think, maybe win one game, call it in Durham, and probably sneak in depending on the size of the bubble.
Yeah, I think that's Fitzy. Let me. So they're getting comped to Louisville last year, who was 16 and 14 in the league, and actually didn't even get to the bubble. Like, they weren't even first 4 out. The only thing for me is, upon further inspection, Louisville went 7-12 against the ACC teams that made the field. So like Louisville, their kind of wins and losses screamed, hey, you pounded the bad teams and you struggled with the good teams. Fair or unfair, that's kind of what 7-12 is what it is. Virginia is 6-6 versus the ACC teams that are projected to make the field. They're 6-8 versus the field, period. Let's just either one of those two numbers. I guess 6-8 is probably the one to focus on. Is that like, could you give me some context on that? Is 6-8 okay against the field, or is that considered like not so good?
I think it's okay. Yeah,
it's okay. It's not going to hurt you.
No, not going to hurt them. I mean, the fact that they've won back-to-back series against regional teams, at Georgia Tech on the road, and then sweeping Miami. If you're at home and you get a sweep, I mean, that to me is equally loud as winning a series on the road. And so they really made the most of those two opportunities in back-to-back weeks. And it was a challenging stretch. They had to win those series, and they did. And so I don't think Louisville won a series last year against a regional team, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, that's, to me, is a big
State, they had won. They swept NC State, and that was it. Whereas you're right, Virginia has 2 series wins over regional teams or projected regional teams.
Right, yeah. So it's still, I mean, it's interesting because I know Virginia's non-conference strength of schedule isn't very good, but I mean, they actually, I thought, built a better non-conference schedule than they usually do. Going to Puerto Rico the first week, I mean, obviously Villanova and Rice, you kind of knew what you were getting there, but they played Michigan down there. And then you go to Round Rock, you play Oregon State, Oklahoma. And I mean, yeah, they had the Dartmouth weekend, but it's not like they had 3 straight weekends of patsies at home like they've often done in the past. So I'm kind of surprised. Like, I feel like the intent to schedule might be regarded a little bit more favorably than their actual strength of schedule.
Yep. All right, Bradley, let's play some stock market game. I'm going to ask you guys both to do this for different pieces. Bradley, I'm going to give you 4 teams, and you just got a tax refund out of nowhere, or like just a sudden barrage of subscriptions into Pards Extra. So you've got some cash laying around. You got to get invested. You can pour your money into one of these 4 teams, just one. Georgia Tech or Duke, Wake or Louisville. And the name of the game is who goes the furthest in the NCAA tournament. So upside matters. So the chance to go deep. Georgia Tech or Duke, Wake or Louisville. Where are you putting your money?
That's a good one. I think Duke. I think I'm putting my money in Duke. I can see the appeal of all 4, obviously, and I think Wake still has a ton of talent, and if everything came together for them, I think their ceiling's higher potentially than these 4. But the way Duke's playing right now, like if that lineup is hitting and they're settling into their roles in the bullpen and you're getting, some length out of guys, I just think that pitching staff has a bit of an edge on Georgia Tech's when I kind of put those next to each other. And I think I'd rather have the Duke offense right now. So yeah, I'd go Duke, I think.
Fitzy, you have a strong opinion there?
It's kind of what happened to me, I think, earlier in the week on the show, where you asked a very similar question and somebody sniped me on Duke, and I felt obliged to take Clemson. But I agree with Bradley's take on Duke, but I'm going to go ahead and stick up for Wake Forest here too. It's been a topsy-turvy year, but I mean, they actually entered this Louisville series with the exact same overall and conference record as Louisville, who's been in the top 25 for a while. Wake's kind of been out for a while just because they haven't really won a series against a regional team since early April. But I like their talent, and I really like still their bullpen depth and variety. And to me, that's something I'm always looking for in the postseason. And they've got a lot of good arms back there, and they can mix and match you with, lefties and righties and, low slot guys and changeup guys and certainly power guys, and I'd like to see more consistency out of their starters for sure. We know that they can score runs, and their defense, it doesn't feel like a strength, but I don't know. I mean, I agree with Bradley. It's a team that has a lot of upside because they do have a lot of just raw talent, but they also have some very obvious flaws, almost like Tennessee light, where it's like their flaws are kind of glaring, but they still have a lot of talent, that can maybe, they can maybe out talent people. Let's put it that way.
Love it. All right. Final ACC question. Bradley, I'm going to give you the premise that this is the year that an ACC team prevents the SEC from winning a 6th national title. they prevent them from winning a 7th title out of 8 years. So the ACC team is who pulls it off. You can select Florida State or North Carolina or the field, meaning the rest of the ACC. So an ACC team is going to win the national title. Is it Florida State? Is it North Carolina or the field?
That's, again, hitting me with the hard ones here.
Good line. Pretty good line creation over here.
Ooh.
We're feeling it.
Yeah. I'm inclined to take the field just because I think Florida State and North Carolina are both very talented teams. I worry about Florida State's, like, their bullpen just had a really good weekend out in Cal. Granted, Cal's not having, a great offensive year, but I worry that the bullpen might, enough depth there for Florida State. And North Carolina, I know they've had, phenomenal pitching year. But again, I worry about trusting 2 freshmen as your high leverage, like highest leverage guys. Like, I know they've been great and they've barely faltered this entire year, but those 2 flaws, and I know they're both pitching, but like consistent pitching and stepping up gets you to that title. So I think I'll take the field just because I don't feel confident enough in either of them to say, yes, they're 100% the team in the ACC. And I think that's, honestly, I think that's fair when you look at how tight these standings are. Yeah. And everyone's kind of just been going around in circles on each other.
The freshmen are Ryan Lynch and Walker McDuffie, right? Like, they're still the guys getting the ball in the key moments.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Cameron Seagraves too has been good. But yeah, without Mateus, like, you don't have that veteran guy to go to, which, like, they've been great. Like, they pitch beyond their years, clearly. Like, you see,
and very talented too. Like, those are real arms. Like, they're good arms.
Yeah, for sure. It's just one of those things where it's like, what is that like in super regional, or what is it? And I know sometimes it's tricky. Like, they didn't go to McDuffie in that second NC State game, and things kind of fell apart there. So it's like he wasn't available, or he might have been available, whatever reason they didn't go to him for a second day. So it's like, what does that look like in a regional? Like, what are the situations you get yourselves into? So that's the question I have with North Carolina. Florida State, it's more like we've not seen a sustained consistency, and they've dealt with some injuries that have really shaken up that staff. But it's after you get through, like, Arnold, Vellini, Mendez, are they all giving you length? Who's coming in? Who's your guy? Because it's not like a closer. It's a committee there. So I think those are the 2 things that I have kind of questions about that make me say, okay, I'd rather take, one of the other 9 or 10 in the tournament.
Fitzy, before you go, Bradley, one more follow-up. Florida State, the injuries, I'm assuming you're referring to the bullpen, and like, these are guys they're not getting back. Like, it kind of, that what they've got now is what they've got to roll with.
I think it's kind of like a domino effect where Evan Cresp's midweek guy, you lose him, you kind of you start having to shuffle things around, and then Connor Holtz is expected back soon. I think he was available this weekend. But that's another arm that's a big part of that bullpen. And I like the guys. I mean, I think the weekend they just had was promising. They didn't walk a lot. They were throwing strikes, I think like 18 strikeouts in 10 innings. And that's like, Joe Charles, John Abraham, Chris Kinnear. Like, there's some good arms back there. It's just throwing strikes and consistency there has been the sort of issue.
Yep. Go ahead, Fitzy. Same game. You could pick the field or FSU or North Carolina to win it all.
I mean, I'm going to take the field because Virginia is going to win it all.
Ooh, I love it.
I mean, listen, I got nothing to gain by backing off my preseason pick now. They're still alive.
That's right.
I don't trust their bullpen. I'm obviously, who trusts their bullpen? That's a problem. But I mean, there's been, obviously Matt Lansendorfer's had a pretty good year, and I feel like there's some other kind of role guys that fit okay. I mean, Matthew Buchanan from the left side is your matchup guy. And I talked, I think, last week about Alex Marcus, the righty who's thrown more strikes and becoming, it feels like their bullpens may be coming together. I do think they're a different team now. I know Bradley Hodges struggled last week, but having him back, to me, like, is a huge difference maker for them. And so I can kind of get behind, Woelfel, Hodges, Valinkis, in my rotation with, I think they've got probably just enough in the bullpen, and the offense is so talented talented, and you see glimmers of it for sure. And it feels like it's kind of been together, as Duick starts to get his head above water. And, I mean, those guys at the bottom, like, to me, that's the keys. Cause like we thought this was going to be a 1 through 9 crazy length. I mean, Luke Hansen hadn't had a very good year. I thought he'd be a lot better, but it seemed like maybe he's coming around too. And the same with James Nunnally, like, hasn't shown as much impact with the bat as I thought he would, even as a true freshman. But I mean, like, he's hitting okay. And I mean, it's still a team that I'm on. So I joke a little bit when I say I'm just going to win it all, but why not? If not them, I mean, NC State is a team that I, again, love bullpens. They got a good one with obviously Duden and Nance kind of anchoring it. One of those guys has been a stopper for an Omaha team already, which is, again, it kind of differentiates them from the UNC bullpen, as Bradley talked about, or a lot of these other bullpens. And I've got Wake Forest, great bullpen in the field here. Clemson's still a team that I don't know what to make of them, but I mean, like, still feel dangerous. I mean, they still feel dangerous. Yeah. So give me the feel. I don't feel like the ACC this year has that super team. There's not like 2023 Wake Forest or North Carolina or Florida State last year. Like, those to me all felt like more viable national title contenders than any team this year, including Florida State and North Carolina. It just feels like everybody's just a little bit light for me this year.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna get a lot of SEC, ACC, like 15-round fights in regionals and maybe super regionals. Like, it's inevitable that those teams will match up, and it's going to be awesome. Let me give you guys one more thing. I'm going to actually, while you answer this, Fitzy, I'm going to plug my wired internet in. Coach Rooney's got 2 internet options right now, and I feel like I'm getting a little wonky. So let's take precautions. Here's the statement I want to get your comment on. I'm going to the Big 12 tournament. I couldn't be more excited. I'm going to be with Clay Matvick. I love the Big 12 tournament. They've got a cool 12-team format, just like you guys are going to have at ACC, and like they're going to have in Durham, and like they're going to have in Hoover. However, and so couldn't be more pleased to be with Clay, and the Big 12 tournament's at Globe Life. It's at a big league yard. It's awesome. And plus an easy flight. It's Dallas. It's amazing. It's so good. Plus they do a Saturday night championship game because of BYU, which is great. All that said, and Hoover is it's the Rose Bowl, right? It's the granddaddy of them all, right? We get that. All that said, let me lay out some of the personnel for you guys at Durham. We're going to have Aaron Fitt there. We're going to have Bradley Smart there. We're going to have Danny Graves there. We're going to have Darren Vaught there. We're going to have Mike Farron there. We're going to have Danny Wexelman there. We're going to have, as if that roster's not talented enough, Fitzy, the great, the handsome Michael J. Monaco is going to be there. Can you talk to me about just the depth of that roster right there?
Deepest roster in the ACC. I mean, that's good stuff right there. I mean, Coach, I don't know if television can handle both coaches, Monaco and Farron, in the same spot. I mean, that's just, wow. That's a lot of star power, just pure wattage right there.
That is serious firepower right there. And Danny Wexelman there too. Like, I'm on a thread. I don't think this is confidential. I'm on a thread with Danny and Mike Monaco and Mike Farron, and it has been renamed the Michaels because it's basically Danny Wexelman momming us around when we're acting like idiots. It's really just awesome. So anyway, I couldn't be more excited to be at the Big 12 tournament. That's been a blast and will be a blast, but you guys are going to have. Bradley, have you been to the ACC tournament before?
I have not. This will be debut week there.
Do you have a plan of attack? I'm
nervous. I'll admit it. I'm nervous. It's a lot of baseball and a lot of people in a short amount of time. But I'm just gonna keep.
Has
my
Kendall
head above
coached
water.
you on? Has Kendall coached you on like snack game? Has Kendall mentioned anything about having Ziploc bags full of broccoli? Has that come up?
That has not come up. I'll have to check in with him on that.
Kendall wouldn't know where to begin talking about snack game because he's never been to the ACC tournament, which has got the best snack game in the world. It's all right. It's all happening. Gosh, it's so good.
So good. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to finish the rest of the country. The reason we're taking a quick break is because I want to tell you people about Tecovas boots. If you love our game, you know that smell. It's the one that brings you right back. Fresh cut grass, a broken-in glove made with real leather. That's exactly what you get with Tecovas boots. They're made for baseball people, whether you've been wearing boots your whole life or you're picking up your first pair. With over 200 steps of craftsmanship, they're built to last. They feel great right out of the box, and they look even better. Anywhere worth going, like the ACC tournament, is worth going in good boots. Find your pair today at Tecovas. All right, boys, let's go. We'll go a little bit more turbo mode for the end here. So let me give you this section. I'm going to call it the big section. And that's going to be the Big 12 and the Big 10. You just tell me if any of these series jump out at you. We've got Kansas State going to Cincinnati. We've got Arizona State going to Oklahoma State. I don't think Oklahoma State's all the way dead yet. So K-State at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been a brutal place to play for Big 12 teams in the last 2 years. Arizona State at Oklahoma State. Kansas at West Virginia. And again, that championship has gotten more interesting all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. In the Big 10, I mean, this is massive. Oregon at Iowa. Iowa season on the line, in my opinion. USC is going to Washington. I think that's important because USC is still like trying to – they're safely in, but like not – they could light their own house on fire if they're not careful. And then Northwestern at UCLA I think is really important because if Oregon – like either Oregon, Iowa, or UCLA are winning that Big 10 championship, and that's going to matter. So, Fitzy, what say you? Big 12, Big 10, what jumps out?
There's some good ones there. I think, gosh, it's low-hanging fruit, but I mean, Iowa, Oregon is.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's good. I mean, because Oregon, I think if Oregon goes on the road and wins that series, I mean, we were talking about them as a potential top 8. Even though their RPI is like 18 or something right now, they need to make a jump. And that would be a nice, I assume would be a nice jump in the RPI if they go on the road and win that series. And even if they don't win the league, potentially a top 8, because they would have series wins against, UCLA, Oregon State, and Iowa, which is pretty loud. Iowa, it's really feels like it's not win or go home because they can still win the conference tournament, but for their at-large bid, they have to win this series. I know they're in first place still by just one game now over UCLA. It's gotten tight. Got to win this series. I think with a shaky RPI and with their lack of success in the marquee series they've played, I certainly understand their scheduling and geographic problems that have resulted in their shaky RPI, but also they just haven't won enough of the games against the best teams. They haven't had a ton of opportunities against the best teams because their schedule was kind of soft in the Big in conference, which is not their fault. But when you get those opportunities, you got to take advantage. And they missed a big chance last week against Oregon State. 2-1, win one game, man. I feel a lot better about it. But this is huge. I mean, I think their season really is on the line this week, and they're good. And I think Oregon's better, but I mean, certainly Iowa at home, they have a real shot there. And now we'll see what they're made of. If they're a regional team, they win that series.
Yep. I used to be, or I had been getting a little gun shy over the whole expression must win. Like, I feel like you get kind of chastised for using that expression sometimes. And coaches certainly don't love that. It's a weird message to send your team. But I've actually reconciled with that. Like, Fitzy, I've been the Iowa apologist. Like, I feel like I've really stuck my neck out there for Iowa because I believe in the team. Like, I really like their team. But I'm with you. Like, I believe this weekend for Iowa is 100% must win. If they don't lose this series, if they don't win this series against Oregon, I don't know how they can make the NCAA tournament. I just don't, because they just, as good of a season as they've had, and they've had an excellent season, they need an exclamation point in the worst way. And there was a chance last weekend and they weren't able to pull it off. They get a second chance this weekend, and I don't feel like I backed them into this corner. I feel like they've kind of done that themselves. And so now they've got to answer, and they can. We'll see.
I'm not holding you accountable, Coach. It's not your fault. I'm going to give you the Robin Williams treatment. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I'm a crier. I'll break down right on this podcast, Bradley. Hey, Bradley, let me take you to the rest of the country. There's a couple, just some other series. I circled UCR at Cal Poly because Cal Poly is another team that really my heart aches for. Like, I love their team, and but they can't blink this weekend. Like, that's a must sweep in my opinion. And I know that's a lot to put out there, but that's what I believe. Fairfield's at Rider. That's just fun because the MAC with 2 A's is, like, those are the two marquee teams. Miami of Ohio at Ball State is an interesting one in the other MAC, and that's another conference tournament with buys, and you want to be one of those top 2 teams. Missouri State at Murray State, who's going to win the regular season in the Valley. Xavier's at Penn State, and remember, Xavier's still hanging around. Like, I can't remember where you guys had them this week, Fitzy. Like they're either first 4 out or they were like the next 4, but they're lurking. And then
like team 65
go ahead.
right now, like team 65 they're about. So
yeah,
like right on the edge.
So, win a series at Penn State, like that's more. Now that won't be easy. Penn State's good, and then Fitzy, you're going to USM versus Troy. That's huge, absolutely huge. Bradley, you go first. Any of those jump out at you?
I think. Well, there's one from the previous section that I think.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Talk about real quick, and that's West Virginia, Kansas, which Kansas is. Well, the Big 12 in general is one of those leagues that has been I haven't followed it tremendously closely. But I have noticed every week or almost every week, a new team pops in at number 25. And then the next week, that team is gone. And that's always kind of just cracks me up to say, okay, which Big 12 team got hot? They're, swapping out. But what's crazy about this series.
It's called timeshare, Bradley. You're not familiar with timeshares?
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm not. But yeah, what I think is interesting about this is, 6 of, I think Kansas's last 7 series have been sweeps, either them getting swept or them sweeping someone, which is crazy to begin with. And then on the other side, West Virginia has 10 losses this year, and 5 of them are in their last 8 games. And that includes losses to Marshall and Pitt, 2 teams, that they would have probably expected to have beaten. And granted, that's midweek action. So those 2 things aside, sweeps and, a kind of rare blip, you suddenly have this situation where West Virginia still should win the Big 12. They're, I think, 2 games up on Arizona State, if I have that right.
2, yeah, that's right.
But it's one of those things where it's like this team is kind of dominated and has won and won and won. And now all of a sudden they drop a series to Kansas State. Now they've got Kansas, who just has kind of been all over the place this year. So I think that's going to be a really fun one to kind of follow.
Yeah, that's awesome. By the way, Eric Simmons asked in the chat if he thinks if Iowa wins the series against Oregon, they're in the tournament. I would, like these are dangerous statements, but I'm of that mind because if Iowa wins the series with Oregon, they're they've at least tied for the Big Ten title, and I think that's and I get Mark. I can hear Mark Etheridge. I can see him frowning at me right now, and I get it. But I still think that matters. The number 4 league, you're this regular season champion. They would have won 9 out of 10 weekends, balanced or unbalanced. That's still really impressive. And Oregon's like that's a badass team. Pardon my French, but like Oregon, that's a real club, man. But that's what gives me pause for Iowa. Like you're gonna have to play really well to take that series from Oregon. Yeah. They are legit. So
I agree.
By the way, Mason Neville's coming into the weekend with 26 home runs. I felt very strongly that no one was getting to 30, and all of a sudden Neville is a monster. And him and Jacob Walsh, the more I think about Oregon's team, the more lathered up I get. I think they're going to be a bear in the postseason.
Yeah, totally agree. Omaha
Fitzy, can you finish? I'm sorry. Can you finish this with USM and Troy? What's your take on that series you're going to?
Yeah, I'm really fired up for this. Obviously, JB Middleton's emergence as a superstar this year has been huge, and I was waiting for that for a couple of years ever since I saw him in a fall scrimmage his freshman year, and I was like, whoa, like makes you sit up straight. It's this little skinny, short-ish righty, who's like pumping 94, 96, might have touched 98 as a freshman, with a wipeout slider. I'm like, oh, this guy, like. I was all in right away, and it just took him a couple of years. And now he's arrived. And so I'm just really excited to see the finished product with him. Southern Miss is red hot. 12 in a row or something like that. They've had an awesome winning streak going. 12 straight. And they have a chance to host if they win this series on the road. It's maybe we still have some work to do, but they're 30th in the RPI right now. And they got a shot if they win this series. And Troy, meanwhile, has not lost a series all year long, but like they've been kind of we've given them a little bit of a hard time because they haven't swept people. But part of that is just because they've been banged up on the mound and really having to get by without their 2 best arms in Garrett Gaines and Noah Edders. It sounds like both those guys might be back this weekend. I was texting with Skylar Mead a little bit earlier, and he's like, it's been hard for us without these guys, but it sounds like there's a chance both of them could pitch this weekend. They really need those guys, and that's really like a huge key for this team in the postseason. I think it just will make or break their postseason chances. Are those guys back, and are they back and effective? And, and can they build them up in time? And so big series for Troy too. It's partly because if you lose it at home, you probably drop into the 40s and finish third in the league, and you can kind of slide a little bit toward the bubble. I think they'd probably still be fine, just because nobody else in the country has gone the first 13 weeks without losing a series. I think that should mean something. And they've been in the top 25 all year long in D1 baseball. I think that probably the committee takes notice of these things. I mean, they have every single week they've been preseason on, they've been ranked. And so I think they would probably still be okay, but you may start to get a little bit nervous, if you're in the mid 40s, let's say, as a third place Sun Belt team. So big series for both teams, and it's gonna be a great atmosphere. That place can get rocking for a big series.
Yeah. And you said at Troy or at Southern Miss?
At Troy.
Yeah. That's awesome. Southern Miss is I know they're a famous program, but they're just because Mississippi and Mississippi State are sitting there, Ole Miss and Hail State, they're just kind of under the radar by definition. And this is a program that has won 8 straight, or not one. They've been to the NCAA tournament 8 straight years. And I know that sounds like not a massive number, but I think that puts them in 5th place nationally. You guys know we only have 5 teams in college baseball that have been to double-digit straight regionals. So Vandy's been to 18 straight. Florida's been to 16 straight. LSU's been to 12 straight. Oklahoma State's been to 11. They could come off that list. They're fighting for their lives. And DBU's been to 10. So when I say Southern Miss has been to 8 straight regionals, that is no joke. And they've won 2 of them, or they won 2009, then they won 2022 and 23. By the way, Southern Miss, there's only Kevin O'Sullivan is 9-1 in super regionals. He makes super regionals look like alumni games. I said that the other day on the podcast. It's a joke how easy Kevin O'Sullivan makes super regionals. The team that beat him, Southern Miss, 2009, when he was just getting kicked off.
He's Crazy. He's like Goodwill Hunting. You know how easy this is for me? This is a joke.
He is Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah, 2 Goodwill Hunting references in one pod. I'm out.
Oh, well done. I just visualized Kevin O'Sullivan asked me if I like apples. Goodness gracious. So great movie. Absolutely great movie right there. So that will be very fun. Gentlemen, we know where Fitzy's going. Bradley, Command Center before you head this weekend?
Yeah, Command Center. I was debating picking a series, but it feels like I need to just see everything as it plays out.
Yeah, that's smart. With 6 teams that could win it. What and then when will you get to Durham for the tournament?
Flying in Monday.
And is it true that you've reserved your room under the name Michael J. Monaco? Did you do that? Carl Spackler. What name is on your hotel room? What'd you go with?
I found an Airbnb.
Look at this guy. Wow.
Mixing it up.
Veteran play right there from the rookie.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thinking I'm going to be somewhere for a week. Might as well be a little more comfortable.
That's smart.
Bradley, one more personal question that I didn't ask you if I could ask. Are you when you're traveling like that, would you rather starve to death than eat at a chain restaurant, or you're in a town you don't know and the chain restaurants offer comfort and familiarity?
I wouldn't starve to death. I'd eat somewhere. But yeah, no, I've never really been a big chain restaurant guy. I'm not a big fast food guy in general. But I get desperate. So I think I went to when I was in Virginia, I went to it was I think it was a Bojangles, not a maybe it was Bojangles. It was a chicken place, and I was like, I need food. It's
was it great? How would you think?
My stomach didn't love it. But it tasted great. It was good to start, I'd say.
Well, you're lucky you're coming to a world-class food city, the Bull City, a fantastic culinary scene. But also, you're never going to eat outside the ballpark anyway, and they feed us great at the ACC tournament. It's really the best press food in these United States, at least in college baseball. I'll put it that way. And I've covered all the big conference tournaments, and obviously Omaha is the best. It's it's first class. You're gonna love it.
And it Fitzy, if I could be a little, a little critical right now, for as great of a tournament as they have in Hoover, the ACC is the, unquestioned champion of the snack game of conference baseball tournaments, and Hoover won't even address it. They won't even talk about it in the media. They won't even offer a comment, Bradley. They're just trying to pretend that this doesn't exist. They're trying to pretend that the snack championship's not even a thing. Afraid to compete.
Afraid to compete. I was going to say it's exactly what they are. You know who's not afraid to compete is Bradley J. Smart. What an incredible debut season for you at ACC Extra. It's unbelievable. And and Runes, you mentioned the lineups tab. If people don't know what we're talking about there, if you click on a team page at D1 Baseball, you've got stats, overview, news. We've added this lineups tab, and that's something we got from Bradley from your old site, Friday Starters. We brought it over to D1 Baseball, and it's awesome. And it's just you provided. You made us better in so many ways, visually, and all these charts and all this like analysis. And it's so cool. We're lucky to have you. And I just want to get that out on the pod here before we wrap up.
Yeah. So Thank good. You. Well done, Bradley. Bravo.
I appreciate it.
Well done by you, Coach Rooney. I would say you dragged me across the finish line today. I didn't feel like I had, my best energy, but you brought it out of me. You and Bradley, you guys, you made me better today, and we won this podcast.
This was a winning podcast. We were very victorious. Speaking of winning, as we wrap, I just want to say, Eric Sorensen, I know you're not listening, Stitchhead with a good weekend can win our regular season picks championship for the first time in his career. This is a big weekend for the whole Stitchhead enterprise. And so I just want to wish, Team Stitchhead the best of luck. The picks are already in, the hay's already in the barn. The fabulous Rune Dogs we know are going to be relegated. This is our last game in the Premier League until we'll be in the championship next year, Bradley, while Sunderland takes our place, whatever happens here. But Stitch, if you can hear me, which you can't, good luck to you. Good luck to the Stitchheads.
And the reason he can't hear you is because he's afraid to compete on the podcast. Come on, Stitch.
That was the whole point of this podcast, was to let him come on here and gloat. But in fairness, Stitchhead plays hockey, which I know just fits very much into his Dos Equis most interesting man in college baseball persona. He's a hockey player. He's a defenseman, even though he lives in Southern California. He lives by LAX. And so they have a playoff game tonight. Plus he has to write his off the top of my head guillotine piece this week. So he's busy tonight. So there you go. Gentlemen, it was great to see you. This is the last weekend of the regular season. I don't know where this went, but I couldn't be more fired up for the postseason. 3 days from now, we'll be sitting in home offices or traveling to conference tournaments. Cannot wait. Tuesday they start, and that is it. Everybody have a great final weekend, and we will catch you next time on the D1 Baseball Podcast.